Hello class. Today we're going to look at the second lesson in Unit 4. Last time we talked about reading and writing algebraic expressions. Today we're going to talk about evaluating expressions. Okay, so evaluating expressions, what that really means is we're plugging and chugging. Okay, now with our calculators, it makes it a lot easier. Okay, so this is the 7th grade standard. We're to apply and extend previous understandings of add, subtract, multiply, and divide problems, and that's really what this amounts to. What you really need to understand is that order of operations is what's key when you're evaluating expressions. Okay, because you've got to follow the basic order of operations. Thank goodness our calculator will do that for us, but some problems are easier just to do by hand. Okay, so here's kind of an example. So without using your calculator, can you solve this particular problem using order of operations? So please write that problem down on your paper and come up with an answer for me without the use of your calculator. Okay, so let's find out how you did. So in this particular problem, what you're going to do is you are going to do parentheses first. So we just write down everything that doesn't use the parentheses. Okay, now we got the 5 minus 3, which would give me 2. So I got my parentheses taken care of. Next thing that we have are exponents. Okay, so we've got 4 to the second power, which we know means 4 times 4, which actually gives me 16. And then I just write everything else down because I'm not ready for it yet. Okay, next is multiply and divide. Okay, so we do them in the order that they appear. Okay, so that means in this particular problem, I'm actually going to do a division first before I do a multiplication. So I'm going to write the 16 plus, and then I'm going to do 14 divided by 2, which is going to give me 7. And then I'm going to immediately take that answer and multiply it by negative 3. So 7 times negative 3 would give me negative 21. And then last but not least, we add or subtract. So in this case, we have an addition, but because one's positive, one's negative, really we're going to subtract, and we end up with a negative 5 as our answer. Now we could now type that into the calculator just to check to make sure that that is the correct answer. So 4, exponent key, 2, and get out of the exponents, plus 14, divided by parenthesis, 5 minus 3, close parenthesis, times negative 3, enter, and you'll notice we did get the same answer both times. So we have to understand the idea of order of operations, even though our calculator does know that for us as well. Well, that's really what we're going to be doing. Okay, so today we're going to be evaluating expressions. So to evaluate means, okay, we need to kind of understand that. To evaluate means that we're going to first place each variable or replace each variable with a number, and then we're going to use our order of operations to come up with an answer. And that's what that simplify means. So evaluate means get an answer. So if I say on a test or on an assignment, evaluate, that means simplify it to a single number or to an answer. Now what we're going to have to do, because we do get use of the calculators, is you are going to have to plug everything in before you actually plug it into the calculator, and you're going to have to write that down. So the first thing I want you to do, though, anytime you want to evaluate a particular expression, is I want you to say it. Just like we did yesterday with the reading and writing, I need you to read that expression with operations in mind. So in this first one here where it says 4y minus 15, that's not how I want you to read it. I want you to read it with operations. 4 times y minus 15. Because the old saying goes, if you can say the expression, you can evaluate the expression. Okay, so this one says 4 times y minus 15. So we're going to write underneath that 4 times, well, the y value is our 9, so I'm going to substitute in minus 15. Then, once you've written that down, you can then go to the calculator, 4 times 9 minus 15, and you come up with an answer. And our answer is 21. And that's what I'm going to expect you to do on your assignment today. Something that simple, but it's just a matter of plugging and chugging. Okay, so let's do a couple more before we get to a really tough one, and then we'll do our assignment. So for A, it says 63 minus 5 times x. So that's exactly what we're going to do. 63 minus 5 times the value of x, and it says that x is 7. Okay, so then I go to my calculator, 63 minus 5 times 7, because you know the calculator is going to do that 5 times 7 first and then subtract that from 63, and you come up with an answer of 28. Now B says 4 times the quantity, t plus 3, plus 1. Okay, so really it's t plus 3, comma, times 4, plus 1 is what we're looking for. So to evaluate this, we're going to do 4, parenthesis. Well, my value of t is 8, plus 3, close parenthesis, plus 1. So we know the calculator is going to do the 8 plus 3 first, then going to multiply by 4, then it's going to add 1 to it. That's based on order of operations. But we type it in as 4, parenthesis, 8 plus 3, close parenthesis, plus 1, enter, and you end up with 45 as your value. Okay, so pretty simple. Now, some of the ones today may even have multiple variables. Okay, so we've got this 3ab plus c over 2. So what does that really say? What does it mean? It means 3 times whatever a is, times whatever b is, plus c, whatever it is, and I'm going to divide that by 2. So we do 3 times, and we look for a is 2, b is 5, plus c, which is 10, divided by 2. And that's how we would type it in. Now for me, I'm going to do this in 2 pieces. I'm going to do 3 times 2 times 5, enter, and I'm going to get a 30 there. Then I'm going to do 10 divided by 2. Hopefully you know that one. We know that's going to be 5. And really what we're going to do is we're going to add those together to give me 35. Now you could type that into the calculator all in one piece, because our calculator luckily understands order of operations, and it comes up with the same answer as well. Okay, so those are the kinds of things that we have to do. Now, let's look at C real quick, because C is kind of different as far as the calculator goes. You need to make sure we understand this, because this says R plus S, get an answer, divide that by 2, because that's what that big bar means. So in order for me to force something to happen first and get an answer, what am I going to have to do to it? Put it in parentheses. So in this one right here, we've got 13 plus 11, and I need that answer divided by 2. Now, if I were to type it in as 13 divided by 11, oh, not 13 divided by 11, sorry, 13 plus 11, divide that by 2, what's my calculator really going to do first? It's going to do that 11 divided by 2 first, and then it's going to add 13 to it. So that's not the way we type this in. So in order for us to actually type it into the calculator to get that 13 plus 11 done first, I have to stick it in parentheses. There are implied parentheses in that problem. So we do parenthesis 13 plus 11, close parenthesis, divided by 2. Now what the calculator is going to do is it's going to take that 13 and 11 and put it together. Then it's going to take that answer and divide it by 2. That's what I need to make sure that you understand about. You can't just go willy-nilly typing stuff into the calculator and expect your calculator to get it right. As I told you before when we introduced calculators, the calculator is only as smart as its user. You got to ask it the right questions in order for the calculator to give you the right answers. Okay? So now what you're going to do on this assignment today is the same exact thing. For questions 1 through 6, you're going to use the values that are in those instructions. X is 6, Y is 4, Z is 0, A is -3, B is 2, and C is 7. So you will do that for questions 1 through 6. Then, for questions 7 through 21, you're going to use a new set of values. A is 6, B is 3, C is 2. So for each one of these, what I would expect you to do is say it first, say what it means, write it out, and then type it into the calculator. So if we were to do an example, we're going to look at number 3. Number 3 says 4AB. Well, I know that really means 4 times whatever A is times whatever B is. So underneath that problem, you're going to write 4 times, and you're going to look up at the top and see that A is, so let me write that in the right kind of pen, 4 times. A is going to be -3, and B is going to be 2. So then you're going to go to your calculator, 4 times -3 times 2, enter, and then you're going to put that answer right underneath it. And that's what I'll expect on each one of these questions. So until next time, I'll talk to you later.